Hello everyone, this is Professor Harding. We are currently on week 6 of this whole situation. And it seems that things have been incredibly busy, actually. 2 seconds. There we go, much better. So, what has occurred? Well, for one, we're seeing a lot more trading going on. I wouldn't like to say it's single-handedly the responsibility of the magpies, but they're certainly helping form a new economy. Some of you may have heard of sovereigns, which is pretty much a fancy way of saying ring. It seems to be being used as a somewhat baseline economy at the moment. Yeah, promissory notes, etc., etc. Except not notes because they're rings. Different rings have different value. Obviously, since this is the magpies we're talking about, you're looking at jewelry that's obviously a lot more flashy, being worth more. Jewelry that's a bit more plain. Unfortunately, sentimental value doesn't really factor in. Lower value. So if you're looking for high value goods to trade with, rings, honestly. Think of it as a new form of money. Certainly the coins and the notes that we have at the moment are completely worthless, so why not rings? Sovs. So the magpies have been getting around quite a lot, actually. Visiting pretty much every settlement and nomadic group that we've come across so far. We've certainly heard reports of them practically everywhere, which isn't hard to imagine considering how brightly coloured they are. So I suppose we have our first real trade conglomerate, which could be handy. We have had reports that the people living in Shield have not quite militarized, but certainly armed themselves in order to find the people responsible for the attack that happened to them. Judging by information that we've discovered, information that was posted publicly on the remaining internet, we're assuming that it was the group known as Cybrid Vigor who attacked Shield, destroyed the nanite bubble. Why? I can't imagine. The nanite bubble was protecting people from nanite clouds. And I suppose now that's going to be a problem for Shield unless they can get their generator working again. It seems like a utterly callous act, to be quite frank. Especially now that they're claiming that Shield is theirs. Do be careful. It's been shown more recently that Cybrid Vigor are very well armed and capable of taking battle to people. Some of you may have heard a lot of gunshots to the east of the wastelands recently. Unfortunately, it seems that the Yellow Jackets caught up with the Hospitalers in an attempt to steal their vehicles. Pardon me. So there was a long, protracted battle through the streets. Now, something to be said for Cybrid Vigor, whether this is true or whether it's just a strike of opportunity, is that Cybrid Vigor responded to this attack with the Yellow Jackets with quite a significant amount of violence. It seems they have weapons, they have soldiers, and they put them both to quite good use. At this point in time, I think it's fair to say that the Hospitalers have been significantly slowed by the attack. please do consider that they are offering free medical aid, as well as free as they can to anyone that has needed it. So perhaps open your hearts a little. Without people like that, our world will fall apart and we'll all become like the Yellow Jackets. More news of Mineton. It seems that the Mountain Muties have actively started attacking the town now, so we may need to do something about that, whether that's an evacuation or some form of combat group to assist. It needs to happen, otherwise we may lose Mineton, and we certainly don't have enough people that we can spare. Not that we ever really did. I wish I had more good news. I honestly do. A big battle, a life-saving shield generator falling apart, or not falling apart, but being sabotaged. I suppose some of our more sedentary groups that are living around the river area have been thriving recently. There's certainly the Vale have not had any issues when our when members of our group have gone to have a conversation with them. Likewise, the Steaders seem to have fortified their area, perhaps in response to what happened with Shield. We have Lord Fairfax's regiment, who were a group of reenactors before this all happened. Oddly well skilled in being able to make do with, I suppose, lots of trees and plant life, which we have in abundance now. Speaking of plant life in abundance, I don't know if you may have noticed, but the grasslands around the river seems to finally be expanding. We have, however, discovered a number of violent growths in these areas. So please be aware that not only the forests are dangerous, but potentially any grassland areas could also be dangerous. These growths may be causing the landscape to heal rapidly, but they are aggressive and they are more than willing to kill. I suppose that's all I can really talk about now. We've started to notice brownouts across the city. I think perhaps some people took for granted that the energy was still running. I believe that some people are using generators, but for those of us who are more inclined to have electronics and laboratories, that the energy has still been running, and we assumed this was some sort of affectation of the nanomachines. But as it turns out, there is a power station. The power station has mostly submerged. Submerged isn't. It's collapsed. It's collapsed underground. Whether that was because of active attempts by nanites or some other group to partially sink it and keep it safe, who knows? But unless we can do something to make sure that power keeps running, we're going to lose all of this method of communication. The people who live in settlements that rely on the electricity will suddenly not have it. And yes, I'm aware that is the privileged asking for some help, but power benefits us all. Electricity, energy, all of these things, they can always be used, even if we can perhaps find or create some form of mobile energy batteries that can be charged from this warehouse, from this facility. We should have a look at getting that sorted. Frankly, because what else can I do? I'm going to be attaching location for this power station below. Hopefully no one takes advantage of this. But I suppose if they do, there's not really much we can do about it. All I'm hoping is that someone can keep it running, really. We've hit 10 minutes now. I think that's more than enough. I'll get back in contact again soon to let people know what's going on. And as always, stay safe out there.